Hello, everyone. So I've decided to get educated, and this just seemed like a perfect learning opportunity. So I decided to take it. All right. Let's see here. I am a woman over 45, and it's time to talk honestly about what that's like. Um, hmm, interesting. Let's see. What is it like? Oh, God. It seems like a lot of irrelevant information right off bat, but I'm going to read it. I'm standing in the foyer of my friend's house. My husband and I have just arrived for a holiday party. We are saying hello and how have you been to our friends when it happens. The familiar fire that has been simmering inside my body since I hit my mid 40s ignites. The fuck is this? Is like a superhero origin story? It is as if my blood has suddenly been placed on a quick boil stove burner. Immediately following is a burst of perspiration which seeps out all over my body, so I feel like a pin pricked water balloon. There's a reason they call it hot flash. My friend's husband leans in to hug me. As he wraps his arms around me, I wonder if it's better to hope that by some small miracle he doesn't notice my back is now damp with sweat or say something. But what do you say? Oh, oh no, just say hot flashes or sweating. I don't know. Uh, hey, great to see you, but I'm having a hot flash. So how about a fist bump tonight instead? Or don't do that. Don't do that. I decided to say nothing. Yeah. Uh, Unless they asked, why would you say something? My worries shifted. Can everyone actually see the sweat on my forehead? Is the makeup I applied a half hour ago melting off my face? Oh, why does no one prepare you for this? Um, I don't know. It's a very specific problem that if you don't know it's actually going to happen, you can't really prepare someone for the exact timing. Aging as a woman, even though I've been in it for a few years, I'm still trying to wrap my head around this midlife transition we only seem to talk about in whispers. Who talks about it in whispers? As a 49-year-old mother of two, I have spent many hours with friends talking about puberty, how our kids are stretching upwards, growing facial hair, or getting curves in places they didn't have in months. That's a weird conversation to have with your friends, you creep. But acknowledging that as mothers in our 40s, our own bodies were also going through significant transition that didn't usually come up in casual conversation. What is she talking about? I mean, I may not be a woman, but I have a mother, and I definitely remember as a kid her talking about that all the goddamn time. It's like her number one complaint. Hot flashes aren't the only issue that has surfaced for me in the past few years. They're just one of the hardest to hide from others. I've never noticed a sign of a hot flash in my entire life. I've noticed women that every time it happens, they complain about it, but I've never noticed any signs. I can't remember the last time I slept through the night, the hour of 3 a.m. Yeah. And I are a good friend. Okay. We hang out oh my God. All right, let's just skip that nonsense. No matter how hard I try to ignore it, and believe me, I do, this transition is happening. Why are you waffling on about nonsense? Do you want to talk about the problem or not? Let's see. I'm reminded every time I open Instagram, oh my God, lady, and see that my feed is filled with ads for wrinkle creams, serums, face oils, are all promising the same things. Maybe just a little more time with smooth skin, perhaps just one less wrinkle. Probably because Instagram know your age and advertisers advertise to their demographic. So you being an older woman, that's what they're going to advertise. I think about it every time I notice another creaseless forehead on a woman. around the same age as me and wonder if very soon my reluctance to smooth out my face with injectables would make me and my crow's feet the anomaly. Um, I don't I don't understand this. Like, women see other women with all these injected shit in their face and they know it doesn't make them look better. It just does not. They look weird. They don't look human anymore. It makes sense on a goddamn inanimate object or a doll crafted to look like a human, but on a human face, it doesn't make sense and it doesn't look good. So why would you think that would help you? If your goal is to look better, why would you go for the thing that doesn't work? How older women are treated? What? How are older women treated? It isn't just my body that has changed. The way people treat me is altering as well. Sometimes it's barely perceptible. The gradual shift from ma'am to miss. Oh, good Lord. These are words of respect. It's when people show respect to you. It's not an insult. You'd think as a woman, you spend most of your life and you want, especially as a young woman, and people don't think you're competent in many ways. And then you get older and people are now treating you with respect. You would actually appreciate that, but no, apparently it's a problem. The other moments are starker, like the time at a summer barbecue when a younger partygoer, Charlie told me she thought I looked pretty good for someone over 50. I was only 47 at the time. Yeah, sorry, you didn't age well. Did you take care of yourself? Did you put any work into it? I don't, like, were you just expected to look better for your age without actually working at it? In talks for a new job a few years ago, I was told it might be better to downplay my experience. Huh? According to the recruiter, experience might turn off the hiring manager. Yes, that could be a possibility. If having a lot of experience in a job means they have to pay you more, they probably wouldn't hire you, especially if the job doesn't require as much experience. So, yeah, good advice. How, I wondered, does one go about doing that? Should I delete previous positions from my LinkedIn profile? Doctor the year I graduated? Just leave out a couple of things. You don't have to fill out everything. A few days later, without even an interview, I was forwarded an email from a hiring manager that said I was too seasoned for the role. Those were the exact words, as if I was an oversalted hunk of meat. What does this have to do with aging? This is just hiring practices. Just go for a different job. Like, young people don't get rejected because they have too little experience. Like, that's just a weird complaint. The resounding message is clear. Age is the enemy and you aren't supposed to go down without a fight. Age has always been the enemy. Time kills 100% of people. So, yeah, you should rail against it and soldier on. Embrace the mindset that 50 is the new 40, while you should not embrace that mindset, because then when you're thinking that that 50 is a new 40, and then people say you look good for someone over 50 and you take offense, you realize that you are the age you are and get comfortable with it, you take a less offense of things that don't fit with your new mindset, while remaining the same gene size you were in your 30s, because that's empowering, right? Why would that be empowering? Are you empowered to not get new clothes? I often find myself wondering why we are afraid to talk about this elephant in the room, that women age. People aren't afraid of it. It's just like years of programming where people are told that they're not supposed to talk about a woman's age because women will take offense. And you literally had a passage in this where you took offense by someone talking about your age. Like, What is the puzzle here? How do you not see this? As we go through menopause, we get wrinkles. Yeah, you do. Old men also go through problems as well because of aging. You heard of the midlife crisis? It's usually when they say midlife crisis, they're talking about men, not women. Why are we generally comfortable talking openly about puberty, but not that periods stop? Because it's not polite to talk about, lady. If you do talk about it, people usually take offense, or it just doesn't come up in conversation. And what would you talk about? Not a doctor. The, find a bunch of other old ladies and talk about it. Is it because we view puberty as something gained, whereas menopause is something lost? No, puberty come out more in conversation because people have children and they're all dealing with the same things. So it comes up in conversation more naturally, organically. This is not a mystery. Are we really our best selves before the age of 40? Yes. Health, prime of your life, you are your best selves before the age of 40. I sometimes wonder if the act of aging has now been layered with so much shame that most of us would prefer to feign ignorance of its very existence. What? What do you mean shame? Why would it be shameful to age? Everyone does it. Who is it shame? What? You remember being young and you remember people being older than you. Were they hiding and ducking their head like, oh, please don't notice I'm old? What if instead we were just honest? Okay. I don't understand what's happening. Embracing the truth about aging. What if we just said, here I am, a middle-aged woman? Why would you say that? People could just look at you and notice you're middle-aged and a woman. I have hot flashes. Please don't. Please don't walk up to strangers and say that nonsense. Sometimes my hormones make me a little crazy. It's not good. That's not a good thing. Your hormones make you crazy. You probably shouldn't be out in public, because if you're going to use your hormones as an excuse for doing crazy shit, you're an unstable individual, especially as an adult, a grown-ass woman out in the world with the responsibilities of an adult. You just start doing crazy shit and you're like, oh, well, it's my hormones and hot flashes and whatever. That's not good. It's not a good thing. I might put on a few extra pounds. I mean, you could do that without getting old. My periods are ending, or they have ended. I wasn't tracking it. I don't think anyone else is besides you. So who else needs to know this? It is normal, is an experience that most women will go through, and one that we should not be ashamed to talk about. But why would you want to talk about it? Why? Like, seriously, why? It is kind of personal information. So why would you just casually talk about it with a bunch of strangers? Maybe close friends are going through the same experience, or you just, you know what I mean? You just wanted to share with someone because it's a hard time for you. You talk to people that you're close with. Why is this like a thing that we all now have to engage in? What if I just admit that I might not always keep up with dyeing my hair every 6 weeks? Again, who needs to know this? Sometimes it is because I'm just tired of the fight. Or you're just lazy? What? Because I just want to be who I am now. No, if you wanted to be who you are, you wouldn't have been dyeing your hair in the first place. And you wouldn't keep doing it, no matter how much time in between you doing it. I am now, and not keep trying to stay as the person I used to be. You can't. So, uh, because there's more to me than what you see outside. Yeah, there's also internal organs. What is your point? Are you, is this a dating profile? Is this what do you, yes, I look different than I did at 25. Yet people can notice that without you having to tell them. But also feel different. I would hope so. I would hope that you didn't just you didn't just age up and feel exactly the same. That would be weird as shit. I am filled with decades of that experience. Yeah, you didn't have amnesia. Good for you. I have raised children, worked at dozens of professional jobs, learned how to deal with many different challenges in ways I didn't know how to until I've been through them myself. When you spend years waking children up, okay, listen, you don't get credit for taking care of your own personal responsibilities. All right. I have raised children. You raised your kids. All right. And if you'd raised someone else's kids, you would have either get paid for it or you would have chosen that. You raised your kids. You wanted to have children, you had them, and you raised them. When you spend years waking children up, getting them to school, running to work, you wouldn't have to worry about gaining weight if you actually ran to work. Racing back for school to pick them up. The school runs on a schedule. Why are you racing through? Do you not? Did you not? Do you just not know how to organize your life? Is this the hormone thing that just makes you crazy? You're just doing everything in the most inefficient way you possibly can. An alarm clock could solve the whole waking up the children thing. All right. And if they don't, if one or two of them don't wake up when their alarm clock goes off, you just have yours set for that exact time. You wake up, you go wake up the ones that are not up, done. You get them to school, done. And you should have enough time to get to work if you're doing the schedule, racing to go pick them up. Do you not know when their school comes out? And they can wait. You don't have to race. They can wait after school. Like, then putting dinner on the table before eventually tucking your kids into bed. You learn to juggle multiple tasks at once. No, these things don't happen at the same time. So you're not juggling them at once. If you're juggling them at once, is because you're a terrible organizer. Nothing needs to be done at exactly the same time ever. You can do them individually. When within an hour you have gone from coddling a screaming toddler or cheering on the sidelines of your teen's game to running to a meeting or chatting with a new client, you know how to navigate different situations and communicate much more effectively. No, you don't. Talking to children doesn't make you a better communicator, because kids are idiots and they're bad at that. You have to teach them to be good at communicating. All this experience gives you specific experience that doesn't exactly translate to different situations. Talking to a new client, that's probably your job. You're trained to do that job. And anyone can talk to new clients. Like, you don't have to be good to have a conversation with someone. What is this? Running to meetings? She does an awful lot of running in her job. When you have dealt with periods of, oh shit, I thought she was talking about a different period. Periods of financial stress, loss, or medical crisis, you learn how to pick yourself up and move forward. These are all just life things that happens to most, if not all, people. I am also more myself than I ever been. As a young woman, I often had doubts about myself and my abilities, as you should. If you're young and inexperienced in something, you should have doubts about your abilities because you haven't performed any of those things. If you didn't have doubts about your abilities and believed you could just do anything, that could be problematic, and you could be kind of arrogant and intolerable. Words. Today at 49 years old, I know my strengths and I'm confident in what I can do. All right, so it went from being a dating profile to now it's just like a resume. And nowhere is this more apparent than in my writing and my work as a writing instruction. Someone is not good at their job. When I began my career in the 1990s, I modeled my writing after others. I never wrote about myself or my experience. Well, we can see why you did that, because you're terrible at it. I've just read about yourself and your experience, and it's a drag. Now, more than 20 years later, I trust my instincts and my own voice. You shouldn't. You're terrible. I know that I have something to say, but you don't. I like just looking at you, I could already predict all these things that you said. Like you're a regular person. Like nothing about you is interesting or should be written about at all. In my teaching, instead of telling my students to copy someone else's writing style, I help them find their own, as you should. So I am deeper than a wrinkle. You're not. You're not at all. None of this is deep. This is all surface level nonsense. And maybe wrinkles aren't so bad. Wrinkle is a sign of life, of laughter, tears. Oh, coping. Ooh, the cope. So much cope. Perhaps life well lived is worth a few of those. You're a terrible writer. You're boring. And I don't know what the hell that was about. I felt like I lost a lot of my life in that moment, just reading through that stuff. It didn't explain anything about aging or what your life is really like. Well, it explained your life specifically, but it has nothing to do with women and aging. It's just aging in general, things that just come along with aging. It's everything I needed to know about this. I could already guess, and you didn't add anything new. It wasn't, you know what? I am so pissed off about that, what just happened. I can't even finish